If you've been married very long, you've probably had a season or two of being disappointed with your husband. This is kind of natural and normal, but what are you supposed to do when you're in that season, that time of disappointment? Well, I'm going to give you 3 Bible-based insights that could be super helpful. The first one is this: sometimes we're disappointed because our husband is actually sinning against us in a pretty horrible way. Like maybe they're gambling away all of the family's money, or maybe they're steeped in some kind of porn addiction, or just breaking your heart, or maybe they're drinking themselves into oblivion, or doing all these illegal drugs or whatever. And in that case, if you're facing that kind of disappointment, maybe God's saying it's time to stop with having that pity party, which we are prone to do, and actually do something. Instead of enabling this to continue, actually draw a boundary. Read Matthew 18 verses 15 through 17, because Jesus gives instructions on what to do in that passage if someone is sinning against you. And so lovingly, gently, but firmly, perhaps you need to draw some boundaries with your husband. Establish some boundaries and say, this is not okay. This cannot continue. You need to get help for this. Secondly, a second reason that we sometimes have that disappointment, that season of disappointment, is that our husband just isn't meeting our expectations. He might not be sinning in some kind of horrible way, but you're just so frustrated, right? Like you were hoping he'd be more romantic, but he's just not. Or maybe he's spending so much time focusing on work that you feel like the family's being neglected or whatever, and you're just disappointed. Well, here's a little insight for you. Maybe you should actually tell your husband what you truly need and desire, because this I've learned. Husbands are not mind readers, and they also don't think like women. So he's probably oblivious to what you really need. Sometimes we hint. Women are famous at hinting. I've also learned that most men do not pick up on our hints. Another woman would pick up on the hint, but a husband, not so much. So maybe it's time to clearly spell out what you need, what you desire. Like let's say another couple's coming over for dinner and you're running around frantic in the kitchen and you say, could you help me make the dinner? And he's like, and then he's still sitting on this couch and you're like, I just said, I was trying to be clear. Well, be even clearer. Sometimes we have to spell out, could you help me make the dinner right now? Again, husbands, not mind readers. Sometimes we need to be very clear on what our expectations are. And here is the third Bible-based insight, and it is pretty huge. Sometimes we just need to realize that our husband is not perfect, cannot be perfect. There are no perfect people anywhere. In fact, Psalm 53 says, there is no one who does good, not even one. So don't expect your husband to be perfectly romantic, a perfect hero for you in every way, a perfect provider, perfect with the children, perfect as a husband. It's just not possible. He is not Jesus in the flesh. So kind of let him off the hook of perfectly meeting every single one of your needs. 3 little Bible-based insights that might help you if you're in that season of disappointment.